We studied the virus pretty much all summer long. By study, I mean we observed it, and thought about maybe 3 weeks before we started the fall semester that we would be able to go mask optional. But as the data came in, indicating that the virus was spreading and at a pretty fast rate, together with the fact that we had actually entertained a group from Louisiana here on our campus in the summer that we believe brought the virus with them and infected some people here on campus to the extent that we had to shut down 2 weeks of camps, we decided that we should rethink our position and to try to not be as restrictive as we were last year, but to require some reasonable restrictions, because the campus community of young people do not have herd immunity yet. Our faculty have herd immunity. We knew and we're expecting some infections on campus. Our position all along has been that we're not going to control this thing, but we can do our best to manage it, and that's what we've done. We did very well last year. We think we can do that this year, probably better than we did last year. We felt like that we have not only an obligation to our campus community, but to the Anderson community. We have people in our community who are vulnerable, who have underlying health conditions, who are of the age that they're at higher risk. And we certainly don't want to be responsible for being careless and getting the virus into the community, simply because we have a lot of people here on the campus in close proximity to one another. And so we're not living in a bubble over here on our campus. We're in a community, we're part of the community, and we have an obligation to the community. And so our approach this semester is to require masks in the classroom, to require masks in places where students or others are gathered more than 75 to a room, and they're required to be there, and also to wear masks on our Trojan Transit, which is our shuttle that goes around the campus and around town. And we believe that that's responsible, and we believe it's not too much to ask of our students, although it is very aggravating to wear those masks in the classroom.
Get used to them again.
We will.
Yeah. I think most statistics at DHEC show that the college-age kids are the least vaccinated group too, so that sort of heightens the awareness of what's going on.
Yeah. If that's accurate, I'm not surprised to hear that, because college students are beginning to make their own decisions. Even freshmen are beginning to make their own decisions, and they like that independence, and who doesn't like that independence? And so with them being less likely to become seriously infected or seriously ill, many of them have chosen not to necessarily have the vaccine. But it'll be interesting to see if more of our students get the vaccine. A good number of them have it, but not enough to claim herd immunity. Enrollment this year will come very close to around 4,000 students from the outset. We know that we will serve over 4,000 students throughout the year because we enroll students at different times, and we even enroll students at different times in the fall semester and spring semester. In other words, in the middle of the semester we may start another term, and so we know that we'll serve more than 4,000. I'm hoping that our official enrollment will be over 4,000, but we have just a couple of weeks more to see those numbers shape up before we can say for sure what our total enrollment will be, our official enrollment that we'll report to the government and accrediting bodies. Yes, the engineering program is an exciting program for us. We will begin that program this fall with a pilot class, but next year we'll launch the program as an official program at AU with 4 majors. We'll have electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, computer engineering, and general engineering. And what we're hearing is that since the upstate is such an area, and South Carolina is such an area for growth of business and industry, that there is a great need even now for more engineers, particularly those who can go right into these industries and begin work without not a lot of additional training by the industry itself. And so we're meeting a community need. We don't start a major unless there's a need for it and unless it fits within our mission. But we're very excited about this major because we believe that we can serve our community, particularly the economic development of our community, even better.
And my understanding is y'all are taking a slightly different approach to, say, like Clemson and the way engineering is going to be approached here. You're starting with a practical and...
Yes, our program will be a little different in that we will begin the program by teaching the practical aspects of engineering, and we'll end the program by teaching more of the theoretical aspects. And that doesn't mean we're going to transition at a point in time as much as we're going to begin teaching the practical side and the application of engineering right out of the gate. At the same time, we will be teaching some theory, but we will lead with the practical side of engineering and end with the theoretical side of engineering. And my understanding from our Dean of Engineering, that is because that he believes that students who want to be engineers are interested in doing things and designing things and making things. Engineering is one of those majors that some students drop out of after a year or so, and we don't want those students to drop out simply because they're not interested in the theory that they're learning. We can keep them engaged, and more committed to completion by allowing them to actually use what they know about engineering very early in their educational experience.
And remind people, y'all went out and brought a very experienced person in to start this program up.
Yes, Dr. Tony Giuseppe Eli is with us. He was the head of biomedical engineering at Texas A&M University. He and his wife Annette live here in Anderson, and Tony was previously with Clemson University and spent the last few years in Texas getting ready to take on this role here at Anderson. We've been talking about it for a number of years, and we're very excited to have Tony. He is a very rare and special individual, highly qualified, doctorate from MIT, and just passionate about teaching college students.
What about other new programs? Are there any other new programs people might not know about coming?
This past year, we launched a PhD program in leadership with 2 tracks, one for those in ministry and one for those in business. And that program has been far more successful in terms of enrollment than we ever imagined that it would be. So that's been a very nice experience this past year. This next fall, we're looking at programs like a medical science degree, master's in medical science, that would focus on pathology. These individuals would be essentially physician assistants to pathologists in healthcare, and would do a lot of the preparation work before materials are handed off to pathologists to give their final approval on them. And so this is a very exciting program as well. And we're always looking at new programs. The largest programs on campus would not be surprising. Business is a very large program. Education is a very large program. Nursing has become a very large program here at AU. And we've been growing in the sciences. We offer an opportunity for students to get hands-on research experience at our Center for Cancer Research. And that's something that they don't get at other places. And so the sciences here have been growing fairly dramatically in the last few years. We get a lot of students in the medical school, dental school, veterinary school, and other graduate programs in the medical sciences. We have a very rare campus environment in that we're very intentional about our culture here on campus. We have 4 pillars. We say that we are almost obsessed with these 4 things. The first is great academics. Students come to us expecting us to give them the knowledge that they need to be competitive in their careers and in graduate school. And we have to start with that. We have to deliver on that promise. And so when it comes to a student's education, we just simply don't play around. It's a rigorous experience, and we're known for that. The other part of it, of course, is our faith perspective. We are a traditional faith-based university. We believe in old-fashioned values, and that's very attractive to a certain percentage of our population today because they don't get that in as many places as they used to be able to get it in. And so that's another aspect. The third component, or the third pillar of our brand, so to speak, is hospitality. We work really hard at helping people who come onto our campus, whether they're here living here as a student or whether they come as a visitor, to be welcomed onto our campus, to feel that they are a welcomed family member, so to speak, here on our campus, especially for our students. We want them to feel like that the campus is something of a family. We want them to have a good time while they're here. We want them to go away saying, wow, that was a great experience, and they really treated me well at Anderson. The fourth thing that we're passionate about, of course, is helping students find their pathway or their purpose in life. And that's one of the beautiful things about the liberal arts, is that we teach students to prepare for a career, but we also teach them to be able to change careers at some point in the future, and we all know that that's a high likelihood. And so those are some basic things. Beyond that, when it comes to value-added things, we focus on things like professionalism. We have a program, a co-curricular program called AU Pro, where we teach the soft skills that society needs for our graduates to have, and business and industry need for our graduates to have today. We teach them how to be a professional and how to act as a professional. The other thing that we do is that we teach them to be good money managers. That's not something that you necessarily get in college, but we require our students to go through co-curricular experiences of learning the nature of money and learning the nature of stewardship, learning that fiscal management is really a spiritual matter, and that there's a way to approach that through a biblical lens that helps them be good stewards and good managers of the resources that they will accumulate and be able to have at their disposal during their lifetimes.
A lot of those things you mentioned there are sort of cores of what used to be considered liberal arts education. That someone would come in and get the sort of the Renaissance education. You take art and you take science and you take. That seems to still be a part of what y'all are doing, am I right?
Yes, I'd say that's very much part of what we're doing, and we actually have a core curriculum that was revised a couple of years ago that's very unique, and it's very much aligned so that students don't just aim to achieve a certain number of hours so that they can graduate, but that they take certain things in progression so that they build on their knowledge from freshman year to senior year, and it helps them make more sense out of why they're taking certain courses and how they can use those courses and the knowledge that comes from those experiences more effectively in their lives. So that's very exciting too. One of the things that I'm very proud of in our core curriculum is the fact that we believe that we're one of the few colleges and universities in America that requires our students to have a philosophy course before they graduate. And as you know, if you look at our society today, people are not very logical as we once were, or it seems to be that to me. And so we think it's very important for students to learn about logic, to learn about the other elements of philosophy, but especially logic. We have one of the larger divinity schools in the South at Anderson University, which is something that many people are not aware of. Probably also one of the more diverse programs in the country, as a matter of fact. About 40% of our graduate students in the divinity school are minority students, most of them African American students, and we love serving those students because many of them are from out of state, and they could attend some of the coursework online, and then they come here for some personal experiences throughout their experience. But We're very happy about that program. We have programs all the way from bachelor's programs to the PhD and the Divinity School, Doctor of Ministry, which is a more practical program, Master of Divinity, the typical seminary program that the student would get at a seminary. A short program called the Master of Ministry, which is sort of half of a seminary degree. And then, of course, all of our undergraduate programs in Christian studies and religion and philosophy are in that program as well. Very excited about football. We continue to plan for that. We're still on schedule to begin playing competitively in 2024. The year before that, 2023, we will play in practice. We'll play some other teams, but they won't count in terms of championships and that type of thing. We're just getting practice that year. And we're very excited about our new football coach. He comes from Division I schools where he's had successful careers, and he is just a very fine man who's going to be a great fit for Anderson University. We have 19 sports at this point. Our two newest sports are men's and women's lacrosse. We started men's lacrosse last year. We will start women's lacrosse the fall of 2022, and we already have our coach on board for those for the women's lacrosse. And we had a great year with men's lacrosse last year in our first year. They did very well, made us very proud. This year presented many restrictions and challenges for the students in the arts. We believe this year that we're going to be able to again relax some of the restrictions. We again want to be responsible about that, but we want to gradually get back to business as usual as soon as we possibly can. So we've not made any decisions about the spring semester. We're just dealing with the fall semester now. And we believe that we will be able to offer performances for the public this year more frequently than we did last year. So that's exciting. It's hard to do performance without actually having a stage on which to perform for a lot of people. And so the community really enjoys our productions, and we're looking forward to getting back to offering those, particularly the President's Gala, which is in the spring. It's always a big event for us, and looking forward to that again. Anderson has really changed the performing arts over the last few years, visual and performing arts, but especially the performing arts. We are not your typical liberal arts performing arts school. We're actually trying to help these individuals get the experience that they need to make a living actually performing. And so many of our students are leaving Anderson and going to New York after they finish their degree in the South Carolina School of the Arts. Many are going to other places around the country and the world to perform and be professional professional artists wherever they're going. And so we're something of a hybrid between a conservatory and a liberal arts program, but really emphasizing the need for our students to experience a rigorous educational experience in the arts so that they can be competitive in the performing arts that they'll be stepping into. Yes, we have a number of programs that are offered online for working adults. Most of our programs are offered online in the adult arena, so to speak, because that's the way most adults are going to school these days. They're going to school online because of the convenience, because of the ease of being able to meet a class from your home or your office instead of having to actually drive to the campus. And so it's become very popular with undergraduate students as well as graduate students. So we heavily emphasize the online delivery in those areas, and we have a number of programs that students can take advantage of. We have a number of building projects that are coming up that we're planning for. We are going to be constructing an engineering building in the very near future. We're going to be constructing a football field house and coaches' offices and workout facilities for football and other student athletes. We will want to build a building that will house our College of Business and our Divinity School. And then we'll be building additional housing because we do expect the traditional population to continue to grow. We're very fortunate that Anderson is a growing institution. It's a very popular institution, particularly to residents of our state. And we don't see that popularity changing in the next few years. We see it probably increasing some, and that's a good thing. We're blessed in that area, and we don't say that in a spirit of pride. We just say it simply that we're blessed and we're happy about the growth that we're experiencing.